I love Helldivers too. I had to say this first, just in case if someone decides to comment after only a few minutes in the video. Speaking of which, did you notice the noises appearing time to time in that video? Yeah, this time I will make sure to edit them out. Anyway, a few days ago, I made a video talking about the current state of Helldivers 2. And I will say, I'm not that surprised seeing parts of the comment section turning into a battlefield. Like, of course, how can some random guy with less than 1,000 subscribers stop a war just by saying, "Hey, guys, we should stop fighting"? However, there's still one group of people's opinion that we're not seeing. Although mentioned by the devs sometimes, what they think is still mostly unheard. They are what we call the average consumers, or the average players. The average players most likely have a 9-to-5 job, or is just a casual. Here, I have 3 content creators that are still playing the game time to time, and I think they each represents the 3 different aspects of how an average player would likely think about the game. And I named these 3 aspects: the disappointed, the acceptance, and the fury! To start things off, we have Command B as the disappointed. He plays various of games and is just what you'd call a casual, because most people that plays games won't just play one game only, therefore probably won't have much time to invest in the game hard, as he considers having 200 hours in the game since launch as a lot. How? He doesn't even know about the war that's happening here.
I came across both the terms glazed divers and hell whiners. I don't know what kind of messed up community beef y'all got going on, but I just want to reiterate that I am neither of those.
Here's what he thinks about the game in his recent video: Helldivers 2 is wasting its potential. He first starts by comparing Deep Rock Galactic to Helldivers 2, both being is an awesome video game about surviving treacherous, bug-infested places to secure vital resources for the higher-ups. You use different weapons and abilities to boost your damage output against various enemy types as you complete missions and increase in difficulty. He then points out, despite being kind of the same game genre, Deep Rock Galactic is like a PT Cruiser with VA in it. But Helldivers 2
is like a McLaren, but on the inside the cup holders are missing, and the seat is permanently locked in the reclined position, and the rear view mirror is stuck on with flex tape.
He thinks Helldivers 2 nailed the hard part of executing the game concept and fails the basic designs like glitches.
They have the right design ideas, and then the execution is so far off base that that feature might as well not be in the game at all.
Or long-term progressions.
Forget my design gripes. I feel like the biggest problem with Helldivers 2 is a lack of meaningful late-game progression, to the point where I feel like I could ignore all my other criticisms if I had real goals to work towards on a regular basis. I have not had anything meaningful to unlock besides ship upgrades and war bonds for probably the last 100 hours of gameplay. If the attachments were raw in the middle, then the camos didn't make it out of the damn freezer. They just feel so low effort, and again, the idea is there, but where is the execution, Arrowhead? Half of the camos are just a simple flat color, and then the other half take that flat color and add a pattern to it.
And of course, balancing.
So many of the weapons and stratagems feel downright useless, even at intermediate difficulties, largely because Arrowhead have consistently buffed enemies and nerfed the players, which is a huge betrayal of the power fantasy that made the game fun in the first place. But what's fun about Helldivers 2 is punching in a code and then watching a bunch of enemies go boom. And that experience becomes less satisfying when you know the enemies are just gonna face tank that shit because Arrowhead keeps feeding them double the daily recommended dose of Flintstone gummies.
He also talked more about stratagems, locked-in war bonds, and mission variety, and how
Deep Rock has those. Deep Rock has weapon skins that actually change the gun models. Deep Rock has actual boss fights. Deep Rock has straight A's and still makes time for football and band practice. Why can't you be more like Deep Rock?
However, he, same as me, loves the game and will continue playing. But the game could have been so much better, yet these problems stays on.
I may not log on every day, but if every few months we get a little burst of what the game was like at launch, I will always come back for that.
Now we can change the mood by bringing in some positivity. The acceptance. We have Michelle Free Hugs, a VTuber who made League of Legends and make Helldivers 2 content on the side.
I just like Helldivers for a fun game. I like when people have fun with the a video game instead of just constantly rag on about it, especially when the game is not even that bad.
When she looks at the game, she sees the fun and cool stuff you can have in the game more than anything else. And when it comes to game balancing, she takes a little more considerate approach for the devs unless something is outright ridiculous.
I don't know, personally, I didn't really care about the weapon nerfs or whatever too much, because like, whenever I'm not using like silly meme builds like this, I'm usually pretty fine. Like right now, I'm kind of at the mercy of my teammates like not being like incompetent and actually having like a heavy armor pin, and if my team can't do that, I kind of just implode. But like, who cares? I'm not like screaming and bitching and complaining and whining. I'm just like, ah, damn, that sucks, I guess. And just moving on about my day.
She appreciates what the game has to offer now, despite the nature of the game being broken.
Yeah, Helldivers in general, I like to call it the give and take system. It operates off of this system, like I mentioned previously, it's called give or take, where your weapon or equipment either gives or takes a little bit to be able to be the final outcome of what it is. Oh, did my game crash? Did my game crash? Yeah, my game crashed. That's one thing I will say about as well as like the game does crash like quite a bit, at least on the PC side of things. I've heard consoles not that bad, but on PC it definitely crashes. It's a for fun game, bro. Like, this isn't like a competitive, 6v6 like 5v5 like, world championship game or some bullshit. You know what I mean? From concept, it is a parody game. You know what I mean? It's meant to be fun. It's not like a super competitive, take serious style game.
She believes if you're having some struggles in the game, it's usually knowledge-based, and she's willing to learn and solve the problem.
But a lot of the time, if you struggle with something in a game, it's usually knowledge-based, or like some information that you're lacking. I'm the type of player where like, if I'm struggling with something, I don't get mad and I say like, oh, this game fucking sucks. I mean, obviously I'll do it as like a joke or whatever, but like, legitimately I'll be like, okay, how can I improve my situation by like learning the game and being better?
But it's not like she agrees whatever Arrowhead does, as she still prefers the Mexican having heavy pen instead.
The one hill I will die on is I feel like the Mexican needs to be heavy pen. I know that's not like what it actually needs, but like, man, come on, it's a fucking minigun. Like, that is the one thing I will go against everything I stand for as like, a voice of reason, and I will just be like, I don't give a fuck, make it heavy pen, bro. That is the one thing in life that I want.
She actively ignores the drama type videos and tries her best in enjoying the team play game. And that's fair, because you shouldn't stop loving the game just because some people disagree with some devs' decisions, which is true. However, our next person will very likely disagree with most of her views. Here's the Fury! Delta Grig.
Oh, but the game was built for playing with people. Who do you take me for, huh? Commissar Kai talking about trivializing missions because the friends need to help too?
Delta Grig is a certified casual. He doesn't have time to go onto the Helldivers wiki before every encounter. When he plays Helldivers 2, he expects a horde shooter that you can go boom boom, pow pow, ego.
Look at that, you see that? That's a whole sea of enemies. Bam, 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 that's 3 big bams. 3 C's split like I'm doing Pilates. Who are you to take my bang bang away, huh? I wanna pow pow, I wanna go eagle.
When Arrowhead talked about the average consumers, Delta Grig is most likely one of them. When he put up the game, he queued with randoms, because average players don't join Kai's Commando Discord server to have people willing to cooperate at all times.
People talking about missions should be hard. Nah, I play with randoms. Teammate number 1 is stuck on the other side of the map. Teammate number 2 keeps dying while blasting us with his mic because God forbid I can have my comms, but somehow you can leave the comms to the people that have this. And the third guy thought he opened Dark Raiders.
Going back to one of Michelle's points, most of the time, if you're struggling with the game, it's usually a knowledge-based issue. Now, it does apply on Helldivers too, but when you're trying to look for the info in-game, you realize there's nothing in the game that explains weak spots, armor piercing levels, not to mention the description of durable damage is nowhere to be found. Delta Grig's gameplay reinforces the lack of guidance in-game, as well his favorite support weapon is the recoilless rifle.
I sleep with the recoilless, I go out to dinner with the recoilless, I even kiss it goodnight and read it a bedtime story.
He doesn't know you can one-shot a factory strider, in which I DM'd him to confirm it.
Oh, you want me to stop two-tapping the worst striders? Well, tell them to stop spawning.
Let's just be real. An average player isn't going to look up the wiki to see, oh, I can one-shot this big thing by shooting it here instead. And much like Command B, he also hates how the game is undercooked with all the glitches. While he has been roasting Arrowhead and burning them to the ashes, he thinks it is needed to be so harsh on them.
Well, that's simple. I wanna represent the anger of all the players that have been laughed at. They have been dismissed and have been simply thrown aside by the devs and their echo chamber. The average player needs to be represented because the hard truth is that if the game keeps going the way it is, none of us are gonna have a Helldivers 2 anymore.
And he's refusing to leave the hill because in the end, he likes playing Helldivers too.
People have told me to leave the game, people have told me that I'm not important, and people have told me that I'm at fault for the toxicity in the community. How can you as a Helldiver, how can you tell someone to leave? Then you claim to love the game. Don't you feel any shame? I don't want the hardcore players to leave. I don't hate them like you do the filthy scrubs or casuals or whatever name you wanna throw at them, right?
He believes Arrowhead needs to be told the truth, and he's here to do that.
I get my approach isn't your favorite, hell, we don't agree on everything, and that's completely fine. But I think we can all see that the devs need to be told the truth. You can't just show them the peak of everyday players. Show them the lows, show them everything. We as a whole, as a community, everybody, has to look at the truth and be especially harsh on mistakes. Helldivers can't afford mistakes anymore. Anyway, I'll leave y'all with this for the moment. Nah!
Whether you like it or not, the fact is, the war rages on. In the balancing conversation, nobody's is invalid, yet no one is valid. Every single content creator I mentioned will continue playing Helldivers 2, and I will too. While the devs tried to please everyone, they pleased no one. Yet, when they focused on what they believe is a game for no one, nobody came. I believe for now, the devs have done a great job with the redacted one. Yet, major game flaws like lack of quality of life features like a codex remains unresolved. A state so sad, even the devil may cry. Will Arrowhead eventually win their original audience back? Well, only time can tell.